ओ ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमू रामाय तस्मै नमः। रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om. We have been seeing the topic of Srishti Prakaranam. Prakaranam means topic. So topic about creation is what we have been seeing. There are different aspects or different reasons why this Srishti Prakaranam is elaborated in Vedantic text. And we saw that the main reason for elaborating Srishti Prakaranam is for us to get devotion. That same Nirguna Brahma alone with Maya Upadhi is appearing as this entire creation. And when that happens, then I can understand Mahavakya very thoroughly. So that is something we have to think more about, that when I look at the world, do I look at it as inert matter, or do I look at it as matter presided over by consciousness? To bring that buddhi, entire Srishti Prakaranam is described. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, as we saw last time, mentioned somewhere in Bhashya, Chaitanya Purvika Iyam Srishti. Means this Srishti is not Jada Purvika. Purvika means that which is there in the substratum. This creation has not come about from another inert entity. It has come about from a sentient conscious principle which we call as Brahma. So initially it looks like a very technical discussion. Okay, first from Brahma Maya came. From Maya 5 elements came. From 5 elements, Sattvic aspect, all Jnanendriyas, Rajasic aspect, Karmendriyas, Tamasic aspect, the entire gross world, and so on. But once we settle down, once we keep reflecting upon it over and over again, different texts, it might, get more solidified. Once that happens, we don't have to every time think through the sequential way. If I look at the ornament, I know it has come from gold. Initially, I might be surprised, ornament looks so different, gold looks so different. How did it transform? So then processes are given. Step number 1, this happened. Step number 2, 3, and so on. But now, once a sadhaka is thoroughly used to this abhyasa, again and again putting forth effort in trying to see Chaitanya in this Srishti, then it becomes a natural way for this sadhaka to go back to the root cause. So that is one purpose of why Srishti Prakaranam is described. Another reason is that it is not only this gross world that we should be thinking about when we talk about creation. There are 2 more layers which are called as the subtle creation. Just like I have an individual mind, this creation has a total mind. which we otherwise call as Hiranyagarbha. So if I can tune myself with that samashti, my individual mind can get lot of strength. I know that things are not randomly happening. I have to just purify my mind out of my ragadvesha, means I should remove those ragadveshas. If that happens, individual can tune with total. Just like simple example is in family, right? 5 people are there, let us say. What is meant by tuning with total? Tuning with the family means if I'm able to put my preferences down and make sure that I understand other person's perspective and so on, then my life is easier. The strength of that entire group comes to me. Wherever a person who is having less ragadvesha, that person gets support from many other people and the totality in general. So similar thing with samashti also. All our Santa Mahatmas have lived their life like this. They did their role and they said, Bhagwan, we surrender the rest unto you. So that tuning was very, very fine, very, very subtle. And of course, there is a seed for this entire creation, which we call as the causal creation, which operates at individual level and total level also. So these are some highlights of why we are discussing Srishti Prakaranam. Most importantly, we should realize it has direct role in my life. If I don't do this vichara, I will think myself to be one entity and this creation to be something else. And most often, I'm always in conflict with this creation, the world. And actually speaking, mountains and rivers don't bother as much, right? It is the other people who are there. I said, this person is my samsara. So sadhaka who has thought through it will realize even at conditioning level, we don't have much difference. Sharira is also made out of same material. If we can tune our minds with less ragadvesha, that is a great solace for a sadhaka. That alone is called as a result of bhakti. You read 12th chapter, whatever indicators are given of a bhakta, none of it is said how long that person does puja, how long that person does japa. All of them are sadhanas which should lead us to this understanding. Right? True understanding is yasma no dvijate lokaha. That person is such a sadhaka from whom the world doesn't get agitated, and the world also does not agitate him. Both ways it works. Okay. Sadhaka does not agitate the world, and anything of this world does not agitate that sadhaka. And this buddhi cannot come just by repeating something in our mind. Srishti Prakaranam Vichara has to be done. So then we saw about Jiva and Ishvara. Bhagwan introduced the word Jiva. He said Sthula Sharira Abhimani is called as Jiva, which is Brahma Pratibimba only. It's a reflection of that supreme truth, Brahma. And reflection always means there are not two different things. One alone is appearing as two. So it is as though that lake which is there, right, is our Antakarana. And in that Antakarana, reflection of consciousness happens. But the most important point is Antakarana does not have an independent existence from consciousness. In the example of this swan and the lake, or the sun and the lake, sun is separate, lake is separate. Right? They don't have to depend on each other. But in the example that, or the point that we want to convey, upadhis of jiva, where this Brahma Pratibimba is happening, is not independent of Brahma. And this Jiva Prakrutya Swasmat Ishwaram Bhinnattvena Janati. From time immemorial, because of this ignorance, Jiva thinks, I am this finite being, and Bhagwan Ishvara is somebody who is far away. Why does that happen? Bhagwan says, because we have not thought into nature of Jiva and we have not thought into nature of Ishvara. Vedantic text, they will start first from nature of Jiva, Drugdrishya Viveka, Shariratraya Viveka, and so on. Devotional text, they will start with Rama Kavana Prabhu Puchahu Tohi. Bhagwan, I am asking you, who is Rama? We will start with Tatpada Vichara. But meeting point is the same. But why are they appearing different, first of all? Why can't we just say everything is one? He says upadhis are different. We have identified with this upadhi. If I am individual, I cannot deny totality. As an individual, I have so many desires. My family should be safe and happy. I should get this particular thing, this particular job. For all those desires, Nirguna Brahma says, I have no role to play. I will just illumine whether you get it. I will just illumine the thought that you have not got it. So if I have desires, the one who is able to fulfill those desires, I cannot turn away from him. So Vedanta is a very systematic way of inquiry. Until I have this Jivatva Bhava, until I have desires in me, Bhagwan says, you ask me. If you are wearing Avidya Upadhi, I will wear Maya Upadhi. Right? Same Chaitanya with Avidya Upadhi appears as Jiva. Same consciousness with Maya Upadhi, the totality, appears as Bhagavan. And what is Upadhi? A conditioning which makes one thing appear to be in one way at some time, and the same thing appear to be in some other way at some other time. For example, if there is a mother, right? Morning, she wakes up, takes care of her child. What title she gets? A mother's title. But 9 o'clock, she has to go to work, and let us say she is a manager somewhere. Now, people in her office don't call her mother, right? They call her manager. Now you ask, is she a manager or is she a mother? She is both. According to that upadhi, that same person can be a mother with respect to the child, and that same person can be manager with respect to the employees. In the same way, same Chaitanya, Atman, from an individual upadhi standpoint, appears as Jiva. And the same Atman with total upadhi, Maya upadhi, appears as Ishvara. But because this bheda is there, evam upadhi bhedat jiveshwara bheda drushtihi yavat paryam tishtati. What is the harm, in just keeping this bheda drushti? Bhagwan says, until this jivatva bhava is there, our samsara will not end. Tavat paryantam janma maranadi rupa samsaraha na nivartate. Okay, I'm reading this portion, this statement. Evam tavat paryantam janma maranadi rupa samsaraha na nivartate. What is samsara? Samsara means to slip from one state to another state. Samsara, there is a difference between Jagat and Samsara. Jagat is what is created or what appears around us, right? The trees, the mountains, and everything. By themselves, they don't give any trouble. But if I attach with them or have some kind of mamatva in that thing, nature of that thing is to constantly change. Like if I am attached to wealth, nature of wealth is to constantly change. Now, if wealth grows, I feel I am growing. And if wealth goes down, I feel I am going down. That is this samsara. And another meaning of samsara is punarjanma. Repeated taking and dropping of bodies, not necessarily a human body. Because our karma, sanchita karma, is stored there, we don't know whether we will get a human body again or not. Right? All for this pramana is shastra only. They say according to our karma, we get appropriate bodies. That is why in all text, human birth is praised. Because we have this ability to live an intelligent life, to seek the true purpose of life. So that is what Bhagavan is saying here. Don't worry about denying God. Focus more about removing our jivatva. If jivatva is gone, understood to be a perception, and upadhis I understand to be just an appearance, then he says, your abidance in this truth will make sure that you don't have any more transmigration. And because sadhanas are done, desire pressure is not as much. What is again responsible for rebirth is our existing vasanas. So they are relatively gone down with other sadhanas which are done. And the final seal that comes is of jnanam. Okay, knowing that I am not this karta. I am not this experiencer. I am not this bhokta. I am Ananda Swarupa. So for what should I go after? Right? Kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusanjuret. One mantra Vidyaranya Swamiji takes, he writes 280 shlokas in Panchadashi, 7th chapter, The name is Trupti Deepa, the lamp of contentment. And he says, if I have understood that the objects are mithya, experiencer is mithya, and my true nature is Satchidananda Brahma, then why should I go anywhere to seek for happiness? If that bodha becomes clear, then there is no more coming and going. That is why Bhagavan says, Tasmat karanat na jiveshwarayoho bheda buddhihi svikarya. Don't have this bheda buddhihi. Most importantly, take care of jivatva. So now comes another portion, which is inquiry into Mahavakya. The student is not ready to directly accept this statement that Jiva and Ishvara is one and the same. So let us see what the student is saying now. Nanu sahankarasya kinchidnyasya jivasya nirahankarasya sarvajnasya ishwarasya tattvamasiti mahavakyat katham abheda buddhihi syad ubhayoho viruddha dharmakrantatvat iti chet na sthula sharirabhimani tvam padavachyarthah upadhivinirmuktam samadhidasha sampannam shuddham chaitanyam tvam padalakshyarthah evam sarvajñatvadi vishishta ishvarah tatpadavachyarthah Upadishunyam Shuddha Chaitanyam. Upadishunyam Shuddha Chaitanyam. Tatpadalakshyarthah. Tatpadalakshyarthah. Evam cha Jiveshwarayo Chaitanya Rupena. Evam cha Jiveshwarayo Chaitanya Rupena. Abheda Abhedhe Badaka Bhavah. Abhede Badaka Bhavah. Student is asking a question now. Nanu, he has an objection. He says, "Oh teacher, I have thought about nature of Jiva, and I have also heard about nature of Ishvara. Because nature of Ishvara, we cannot think by our own intellect. Right? We have to get some pramana. So from Shastra, he has heard something about nature of Ishvara. And he says, Jiva is me myself. That was my understanding. So I know who I am. What is your understanding? He says, Nanu, sahankarasya. Jiva is the one who is with ahankara. Ahankara here means sense of individuality. That I feel I am this person, not this person, not this pillar, not this tree. So I have defined myself very well, right? With these panchakoshas which are there. And most importantly, this sthula sharira, gross body, I think I am. And what to talk about mind? I think I am this mind. So sahankarasya, kinchijnasya. No matter how many degrees I have, I realize I know so little out of all this knowledge which is available in this world. Forget about all types of knowledge. Even within one branch, if I start getting specialization, right? Then I have to leave other things. You say in this body, I start focusing on ear. He says, I might be a doctor, but my specialty is ENT. Right? I go more into ear specialization. Any other part of the body has pain, that is not my area. So who am I? Sarvajna or Kinchijna? He says Kinchijna. Even in that ear, there are so many things that I constantly feel how little I know. So that is this. Why does this feeling come? Because buddhi is finite by itself. Intellect can never grasp something which is infinite. Think about infinite space. You say, that boundary which is there, right? Maybe that is infinite space. How can you put a boundary if you want to say it is infinite? So buddhi cannot get knowledge of anything which is infinite. But so many things are there to know. I think my buddhi is so small, tiny. So that is my definition of jiva. It is sahankara and it is kinchijna. But on the other hand, I have heard that Bhagwan, Ishvara is nirahankara. Ahankara comes whenever there is identification. And if it is finite, then I will have ahankara about, means individuality will come with that finite identification. So what is the sharira of samashti, Ishvara, if you say? This entire creation, all brahmandas are Bhagwan sharira only. What abhimana he will have? Of finitude, Infinite gross creation is his body. He will not have any kind of individuality. I have this small tiny mind, I have abhimana, or I say I am kinchijna. But Bhagwan is samashti, sukshma sharira upahita chaitanya. Means he is the sentient principle presiding over total mind. So Bhagwan is not kinchijna, he is sarvajna. That is Ishvara. And now what has Upanishad told me? That Ishvara you are. Tat Ishvaraha Tvam Asi. it should shake us also, huh? Not only the student of Tattvabodha. He has done his job. Even after being pointed out in this way, this should hit somewhere. How can I be the same as Ishvara? Because Tatpada is called as Ishvara. Tvampada is Jiva. Tattvamasi Mahavakyat Katham Abheda Buddhi Syat. How come this Abheda Buddhi is possible? Abheda Buddhi means oneness. Bheda is difference. Abheda is oneness. And what is his reason? He says, Ubhayoho Viruddha Dharma Krantatvat. Between both of them, I see these differences. One is Kinchidnya, another is Sarvajnya. One is Sahankara, another is Nirahankara. So how come this Abheda Buddhi is possible? So then Bhagwan says, Stula Sharira Abhimani Tvam Pada Vachyartha. So he introduces a new word called as Vachyartha. That word Tvam means Tvam Pada. There are two meanings. One is the literal meaning that comes to your mind, and one is the implied meaning that we should take. So when you hear the word Jiva, we have one meaning which comes to our mind, with this physical body, with this mind, and everything. And when we hear the word Ishvara, we have another idea that comes to our mind. He says there we should separate out what is Vachyartha and then go to the implied meaning, which is Lakshyartha. Okay, what are they? That we will see now. We'll just go through the literal meaning first. So Sthula Sukshma Sharira Abhimani Tvam Pada Vachyartha, that entire entity along with Atma, Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira is the literal meaning of the word Tvam. But these Upadhis, remember, they don't have independent existence. They have emerged from consciousness, and whatever has emerged from consciousness is not actually another entity. It is only an appearance. So if you leave that Upadhi vinirmuktam samadhi dasha sampannam shuddha chaitanyam tvam pada lakshyartha. Whatever remains when you negate those Upadhis, that is called as tvam pada lakshyartha. The implied meaning of the word thou, right? Over here you see that thou art. So this word thou means tvam. That tvam word has two meanings. One is literal meaning, which includes all this gross body, subtle body, and everything. But we have elaborated this process of creation for a reason. He says, don't think that these Upadhis have just come out of thin air. They are all appearing in Chaitanya. So because it's an appearance, you can very well negate it. That snake which is there on the rope, because it's an appearance, you can negate that snake. He says, here also you do that Shodhanam. You do that. Shodhanam means inquiry. Okay. And what about Ishvara? He says, Evam sarvajnatvadi vishishta Ishvara tat pada vachyartha. Just as you have individual conditioning, individual mind is kinchidnya, total mind is sarvajna. Consciousness by itself is not sarvajna. With Maya Upadhi, it gets the title of sarvajna. This is Tvam Pada Evam Sarvajnatvadi Vishishta Ishvaraha Tat Pada Vachyartha. So along with that title, along with that conditioning, that is called as Tat Pada Vachyartha. But if you remove the Upadhi Shunyam Shuddha Chaitanyam Tat Pada Lakshyartha. The implied meaning of that word Tat is pure consciousness. That is why from Srishti Prakaranam we saw entire creation has come from that same Chaitanya. So if that knowledge I have, or I know to think in that way, then this Vachyartha Lakshyartha becomes more meaningful. Okay. Evam Jiveshwarayoho Chaitanya Rupena Abheda Buddhi Badaka bhavaha. So from the standpoint of Chaitanya, there is no difference between Jiva and Ishvara. From the standpoint of Upadhi, Bhagwan, I am the drop, you are the ocean. I am the hand, you are the body. Upadhi, conditioning. Okay, both we should be thorough in. So little bit about what is this Vachyartha and Lakshyartha. So literal meaning is called as Vachyartha and implied meaning is called as Lakshyartha. For example, when you hear the statement, right? I see this person once in a blue moon. Now, if somebody doesn't come from this culture where this metaphor is used, they will say, what is that moon again? How come it is blue, right? So literal meaning is one, what you just hear and understand. But then if you look at the implied meaning, you say blue moon is just like once in a while you see, that full moon in that way. This person also once in a while comes over here. That way. If somebody has given a very good speech, you say, he roared like a lion. So you don't ask that person, right? Oh, lion, how did he roar? From childhood only he is roaring or now he started? He said, no, roared like a lion is a metaphor. Means he gave a very fiery speech. He was very confident in what he was saying. Just like a lion. So that is the similarity we draw. So literal meaning is one, implied meaning is something else. So Tvam Pada Vachyartha, when we say, it is gross body, Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira, and of course reflected consciousness is over here, and Atman together. This is another important point. When we say Vachyartha, sometimes our idea is only about gross body. Right? Vachyartha is not only about gross. That is why Vedanta comes and systematically does Adhyaropa. It says, you thought you are only this gross body, we will tell you more. There is subtle body, there is causal body, reflected consciousness. So whenever you hear the word Tvam, all these things should come in mind. And like that we have Tat Pada Vachyartha. So what is Tat Pada Vachyartha? Brahma along with total gross body, total mind and Maya Upadhi. Okay. All of that together is called as Tat Pada Vachyartha. Simple way to understand is consciousness with Upadhi. Consciousness with conditioning at individual level and total level is called as Vachyartha. And if you try to equate both of them with these conditionings, we will never be able to reconcile that statement. Which statement? Mahavakya, Tattvamasi. Somebody says, why do you want to reconcile? Vedas keep saying so many things. Why do you have to hold on to that statement so strongly and you are trying to analyze and understand and so on? So many other things are said. Why don't we just go with those things? So this sadhaka says, no. I have pramana buddhi in Veda. And my acharyas have told me that Tattvamasi is the essence of all Upanishads and entire Veda. So I cannot let go of that statement also. So just to understand this particular statement, right, Tattvamasi, there are so many granthas which are written. One that we are familiar with is Vakya Vritti, where Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji only analyzes how to understand Tattvamasi Mahavakya. But for now, we won't go into that discussion. Vedanta Sara also, a lot of discussion is there. But at least we should get familiar with these two words, Vachyartha and Lakshyartha. Okay, Vachyartha means with conditioning. With conditioning, I cannot equate both of them. Then what is Lakshyartha? Lakshyartha is pure consciousness. So in and through what is being said, I should know what to reject and what to keep. So upadhis again and again I'm repeating this point. This question I had for a long time. How can you just say that upadhis, you just leave it? How can you just say, upadhis cancel out and then Brahma and Atma you equate? Why will I cancel out both of them? Because I see this body, I see this mind. So go back to Srishti Prakarana. Upadhis have emerged from consciousness, and whatever is a product of consciousness is not actual modification, it is only an appearance. Because upadhis are an appearance, you can leave them out. And that substratum of this individual upadhi is the same substratum of total upadhi. That Brahma you are. Okay, this is the teaching of Vedanta. So this is our Lakshartha, Tvam-pada Lakshartha and Tat-pada Lakshartha. Now what does Mahavakya do? This point we had seen in our fundamentals of Vedanta, right? That camp we had, same idea we had seen there. So first Vedanta will, or Mahavakya will have us do inquiry into Tat-pada, inquiry into Tvam-pada. Means first we need to know what all things are included in Tvam-pada, what all things are included in Tat-pada. Then Vedanta says separate out Vachyartha from Lakshyartha. How will you separate? Just remove those upadhis. Along with upadhis, I called it as Vachyartha. I remove those conditionings, then it becomes Lakshyartha. And then Mahavakya comes and says that Tat Tvam Asi. That truth, which is the substratum of this creation, is the same truth which is illumining your thoughts. That is the role of Mahavakya. To remove the sense of finitude in the individual and to remove the sense of remoteness in Bhagavan. Two things Mahavakya does. Sense of individuality which is there because I have transcended these upadhis or come to know that they don't have any individual independent existence. That sense of finitude is removed. And this totality, which I thought was something different from me, right? Bhagavan, who is this presiding consciousness over the creation, I have faith in Bhagavan, but I think Bhagavan is somewhere else. It says that Bhagavan is the same drashta. With upadhi, the same Chaitanya appears as this creation. Let go of those upadhis. Same Chaitanya is my own true nature. Okay, this is the role of Mahavakya. Now, if you see in Upanishads, right? In every Upanishad, this is how the truth will be pointed out. So the Mahavakya, how does it reveal the truth? Right? So first, it will be truth being pointed out from a totality standpoint, and then truth being pointed out from individual standpoint. Mahavakya will come and say, it is only one truth which is appearing as these two things. So for example, in Chandogya Upanishad, it says, Sata Somya Tada Sampanno Bhavati Swam Apito Bhavati. Means the way the truth is pointed at individual level is, when we are in deep sleep, the Jiva merges back into Sat. Bhagavan's Karuna is there. He has given us a glimpse of that Ananda Swarupa without us doing anything. He says every night, the Jiva needs some Vishrama. He says, where do we go in deep sleep? He says, Jiva goes back into Sat. And then, what about creation? So the same Upanishad says, Sadeva Somya Idamagra Asit Ekam Eva Advitiyam. That one truth alone is the substratum of this creation. That alone was there before creation. And even now, that same truth is there. It is Ekam and it is Advitiyam. Non-dual truth that this Chaitanya is. So now Sat word has come here, right? That we all go into Sat as Jivas. And then Sad word has come on the other side also when we talk about creation. So Mahavakya comes and says, Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. That Sat which is there is the same truth, which is the illuminator of your thoughts. That truth you are. Okay, you are that Sat, which is the substratum of this creation. On this point, you meditate. If upadhis are bothering, purify them first, and then come to understand their mithyatva. Purification of upadhi is sadhana department. Understanding its mithyatva is siddhanta, jnana department. Another, these are all famous Mahavakyas. There are countless Mahavakyas in every Upanishad. Whatever points out this oneness at consciousness level, that is called as Mahavakya. It need not always be Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi is one of the Mahavakya. Prajnanam Brahma is another. This is from Aitareya Upanishad. So where it is said, Sarvani etani prajnanasya namadhyani. Different types of thoughts are mentioned, memory, resolve, clarity, kindness. And then it is said, all thoughts rise in consciousness. So Tvam-pada Vichara is done in that way. And then on the Tat-pada side, it is said, Sayikshate, Lokanusruja iti. In that same truth which is there, same prajna, the Chaitanya, that did Ikshanam and then became many of this, like this entire creation. And then comes Mahavakya, Prajnanam Brahma. That Prajnanam, which is we just saw right now, that same Prajnanam is this infinite Brahma. So illuminator of my thoughts is a substratum of this creation. So in this way, there is Vichara done over Mahavakya. And samsara nivrutti will happen only when Mahavakya bodha becomes clear. Because where did we start? Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji said, Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshamaha. I will tell you how to think. So look at a systematic way of unfolding the text. First he said, develop qualification. At that time, don't think too much about upadhi being mithya. Mind is there, take very good care of it. Know how to purify the mind, right? All Shama Dama, everything that we saw was the first prakarana. Then he said, let us do Tvam Pada Shodhanam. So he pointed out Tri Sharira, Panchakosha, Avasthatraya, right? That was Tvam Pada. And he said, there is Chaitanya as a substratum, that Chaitanya you are. That portion was completed. Then he went into Tat Pada Shodhanam, where how did this creation come about? Including this physical body, sense organs, everything was described. And there it was said, this same Chaitanya is at the substratum of this creation. Brahmashraya Maya Asti. Not independent. Matter and consciousness are not two things. The matter is an appearance in consciousness. This is Vedanta Siddhanta. And now comes Mahavakya, where Bhagavan says that this Tat Pada which is there, that you are. Tat Tvamasi, let go of the upadhis, Chaitanya Swarupa Brahma, that alone you are. But how did it help me overcome my sorrow? He says, sorrows are there because of upadhis. And as long as I think myself to be those upadhis, don't expect to be free from those sorrows. That is the main teaching of Advaita Vedanta. Nivruttasya nivrutti and praptasya prapti. Ananda is my swarupa, which is ever attained. Atma, Chaitanya, I don't have to go and get. And dukkha is there in upadhis, which is ever different from me. Its existence itself depends on me, and I am not that. But we know it doesn't happen overnight, right? This is the main sadhana point. This is where we should reflect more upon, think for ourselves. What is Vedanta trying to say? And because upadhis are already tuned, vyavahara is not too much bothering. This solution doesn't appeal to those who are too concerned about vyavahara, right? And Vedanta is also not naive enough to say, just ignore it. All solutions are given. It is up to us how sincerely we put forth effort in our sadhana. Then this knowledge makes a very clear picture, and then we can benefit from it. So only two topics are remaining now, Jivan Mukti and Karma Siddhanta. So we will see next class if we can wrap up this topic. So that will be the concluding class. Okay. Let us see how it unfolds. There are some important announcements, so please stay back. And if there are any questions, you can turn them in. I think we have covered most of it from last time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So there is one question that I see here. Atman, Brahman, Chaitanya, consciousness, conditioned by Maya, is Ishvara. Does Ishvara have control over Maya though? So what is the meaning of controlling? Right? Controlling is not in the sense of, trying to be like a ruler. This is Bhagwan is that sentient principle which is presiding over Maya. Whatever control has to come is already embedded in Maya. Like for example, we saw Panchikaranam, right? Now if you ask the question, does Ishvara control Panchikaranam? I mean, does he say, okay, this element, now you go and do this. Okay, from space, air should come. From air, fire should come. He said, no, not that kind of control. Whatever control is there, it is well embedded in Maya. That is why in Puranas it is said, Bhagwan is in Yoga Nidra. Because Maya is very well capable of doing everything in this world. But main thing we should appreciate or know there is with regards to our karma phala. This question becomes more relevant when it is from the perspective of karma phala. That Bhagwan is Sarva Shaktiman. Right? So for any jiva to get any karma phala, so Bhagwan is all capable of giving us that. Otherwise, if he has the ability to decide karma phala but not implement it, then Bhagwan will be conditioned again. So we say Bhagwan is Sarva Shaktiman, all powerful. Then what is my role? My role as a devotee is do good karmas and not worry about how the result is going to come. One who is giving is all capable, so he can find a way out. Wherever you are, results of good karma will come searching for you. And that is how we can look at this. But control in the sense that this creation has a sentient entity taking care of it. In that way also we can understand. Right? Because all these points look technical, but we should know how it connects to us. Right? Bhagwan may be controller, but what about my life? Is he controlling my life or not? You say, yes, very well he is. So become devotees of Bhagwan. Okay, so if there is any other, you can type in. If not, we will meet next time. Maya is total ignorance. How can ignorance have power? That power comes from the sentiency. Goswamiji says in Rama Gita, nahi nija bala take. Prabhu prerita, nahi nija bala take. Prabhu prerita means what? That Maya cannot do anything on its own. So it has to depend upon consciousness. Any inert object, for that matter, cannot do anything on its own. Right? So all power of Maya is dependent upon consciousness. And it works both ways, because consciousness by itself need not do anything. But we see so much of creation and everything happening. We say that is Chaitanya presided over by Maya. Then only it gets this ability. Right? Okay. Yes, we'll gradually take texts. Okay. Somebody said it would be good if we can cover Vedanta Sara. And another thing, those texts will help us build upon these texts. Means we should become thorough with these ideas first. Because when you go to Vedanta Sara, they will expect that we know what is the difference between Vachyartha and Lakshyartha. And more precise definition will be given. Vivikta and Avivikta, like that, more advanced technical words will be used. So it is good to get thorough with this, and then we can build upon the next one. Okay, but that is the plan. We will go one after the other. The samsara we were discussing today, is it the same samsara bhanjanam that we are all trying to cross over, right? It says bhandanam, but I'm guessing it is bhanjanam. Is my understanding correct? Yes, samsaranam means constant feeling of transition. Transition from one mindset to another mindset. Transition from one situation to another situation. Transition from one body to another body, one loka to another loka. All of that is samsara. Jivan Mukta is the one who knows I am that non-transmigratory Brahma. And in this Brahma alone, all this, upadhis are playing around. Nataka Deepa it is. All this natak is going on in upadhis, but I am that illuminator. So that is the meaning of samsara. Samsaranam we should keep in mind. Okay, samsara is not all these trees and plants and everything. They are harmless. But my identification with them, giving reality to things, that is what causes samsara. Okay. If I am Brahman, then what is the need for Maya? There is no need for Maya. If I have thoroughly understood that I am Brahma, there is nothing else, then Maya is also Brahma Swarupa. Just like if I have understood that there is only rope, that snake which is appearing, I have understood it is the rope only. It might appear, but I have no fear of it. But what happens is we are not able to do that direct jump. Means if we should understand the implication of that statement, if I say I am Brahman, all my complaints about being a jiva should go away. Any complaint that I might have as this individual body at mind level, whatever those things are, none of it can be there. Now you see, is it easy to make that jump directly? You say no. Accept Maya for now and know that there is a Maya Pati. With the help of Bhagwan, purify the mind and sincerely do Vedanta Shravanam. That is a result of devotion to Bhagwan. That having this desire to systematically study Vedanta, then this knowledge which I've just heard, right, that I am Brahma, Jagat is Mithya, it will start hitting more strongly. Not that we won't know how to live our life or anything, but if somebody or some situation makes me think I am a jiva, if my mind only goes out, this knowledge should come and say that you are Ananda Swarupa. Why are you going after this thing? Jivatva is that, right? Searching for Sukham outside. So in that way, we will come to realize that Maya is a way to help us reach the truth. It is not, or Swami used to say, Maya is not an answer to creation. Maya is a question about creation. As long as I am in Jiva Bhava, he says, let Maya be there, understand the sequential explanation given from Maya, right? That this sense organs came, the creation came about, everything is true. Get that Brahma Buddhi first, right? With Upadhi, thinking that I am with conditioning, and after that, we can negate those conditionings. Okay. Okay, there is one more question about Prarabdha Karma, which I have noted. We will cover next time. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om.